Yeah. All right, where is it to edit? What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Gen Sports Corner back at you for 2/23/2020. You know what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the aftermath of Wilder Fury 2. What's going on, Myth? Let me get a couple more people, about a couple more of my boxing heads into this chat because we're going to talk about this. Hell of a fight last night. If you didn't see it, you missed it. Um, just fireworks, pure fireworks last night. And we're going to talk about this because I had a lot of thoughts coming into this fight. I had a lot of things going on yesterday, so I wasn't able to put up a prediction video. I just kind of put up a story just asking people who they thought were going to win. But, we're going to get into some of the things that happened in the fight. I'm going to talk about some of the things that I talked to people about coming into the fight. Yeah, we're going to get into that. Just give me a couple seconds. All right. Well, you're already here, so my bad if you get the extra invite, Karan. I think that's everybody. Okay. So this fight, highly anticipated, big fight, one of the biggest matchups in boxing in a while. I mean, we've had a lot of big fights, but this has been one of the biggest ones. You have the undisputed lineal heavyweight champ in Tyson Fury going against the WBC heavyweight champ in Deontay Wilder. Two different camps, two different promotional entities, and they made it happen. They cut all the bull crap. They didn't tiptoe around this fight. They made it happen the first time, and it was a hell of a fight the first time. And then we got the rematch, no excuses, and it was a barn burner. And for those of you that didn't hear, Tyson Fury stopped Deontay Wilder by TKO in the seventh round. Corner came in to throw in the towel, but the referee Kenny Bayless stopped it before he even saw Deontay Corner's towel coming from his corner. So it was a hell of a fight there. Hats off to both guys. Both guys were warriors. But let me rewind back to the first fight. And I didn't get a chance to put up my prediction vid, but I predicted that Tyson Fury would win the fight. I had people asking me all week, and I honestly wasn't sure because I thought it was such a good matchup in terms of the styles. I was leaning towards Tyson Fury, but I was just unsure as to who was going to win. I just thought it was a very, very good, evenly matched fight. But the more and more that I actually sat down and thought about it, the same way I did for the Super Bowl with the Chiefs and the 49ers, when I actually got a chance to sit down, think about it, and look at some of the film and look at the tail of the tape, I saw glaring deficiencies that I saw from the first fight that led me to believe that Tyson Fury would win the fight. Just like I saw some glaring deficiencies. Yeah, I know, man. I didn't know it would be that bad either. No, I don't think anybody did. But I'll actually I'm going to mention a text message that I had with one of my co-hosts from the Playmakers Radio podcast, and I actually alluded to what you just said. Um, so me and one of my coworkers were he was asking me about the fight. Shout out 007, and he said, who you got? I said, it's a tough one, but I'm leaning towards Fury. And he said, really, knockout or decision? I said, knockout. I think someone's getting stopped. It's a coin flip. And this is what I said right here. If you guys can see this. Uh, anyways, what it says is I said both are coming in heavier, looking for the KO, and they're looking for punch resistance so they can take a punch better. If Wilder doesn't KO him early, Fury is going to beat him, in my opinion, worse than he did in the first fight. And that was my sentiment. I thought that if Wilder didn't use those extra 15, 16 pounds to really sit on a punch and try to knock Fury's head into the first row within the first 3 rounds, I thought that Fury was going to wash him. And that's what happened. Because Tyson Fury, he came in heavier as well. He was like 250 for the first fight, and he came in at like 273. He came in heavier. And I didn't expect that because leading up to the fight, he talked about how he was going to come in lighter And my man Manny, let me add him into this as well, because he was actually, my man Manny was telling me about this. Okay, I invite him. If you hear, you hear. If you're not, you're not. He said that he heard that there was talk that Tyson Fury had possibly injured his ankle during training camp, and that he wasn't able to run, and that was the reason why he put on the extra weight, because that wasn't originally the game plan coming to this rematch. And that got me thinking yesterday, because I hadn't heard about that. That made me think about switching my pick over to Deontay Wilder, because I was like, well, if he can't move around, then that's going to be a serious issue. But then when I saw Tyson Fury in the warm-ups about like a half an hour before maybe an hour before fight time, he was bouncing around, throwing combinations. So I'm like, oh, his ankle looks good. Doesn't look like he has a problem. He's one of those guys who he's built like a sloppy Big Mac, but he doesn't gas out. That's just the way he's built. He's just an athlete. He doesn't look the part, but he's an athlete. Deontay Wilder looks the part and he's an athlete, but Tyson Fury doesn't look the part, but he's still an athlete. Some things you can't describe. Just like Andy Ruiz, the Mexican former heavyweight that beat Anthony Joshua. Doesn't look like an athletic guy. Looks like a very pudgy, short heavyweight. But once he gets, in that ring, he's light on his feet. He's moving around. Exactly. A skinny butterbean. That's actually a very good comparison, man. A skinny 6'9" butterbean with long orangutan-like arms. And that's the first time Deontay's faced a guy that's as tall or taller than him with as long of a reach, if not a reach that's 2 inches longer than him. So Deontay Wilder is 6'7", Tyson Fury is 6'9". Deontay Wilder has an 83-inch reach. Tyson Fury has an 85-inch reach. So you can't sit back all fight and cock back just waiting to unload that right hand from hell on a shorter guy with the shorter reach, because all Tyson Fury is going to do is snap that jab out, pop your head back and turn you around. And he did that consistently in the first 2 rounds and built upon that. And one thing I noticed in the first fight is Deontay Wilder, outside of those 2 knockdowns, and this is something I did say in my post-fight analysis from the first fight, he did absolutely freaking nothing in that first fight outside of the 2 knockdowns. I reiterated this time and time again. Even with the 2 knockdowns, I thought that Tyson Fury schooled him, and I thought that he got robbed. Deontay Wilder, to his credit, put him down and almost put him out. But to me, you can't lose 9 rounds. You can't lose 9 rounds. Let me repeat that. You cannot lose 9 rounds and get a draw off of 2 knockdowns. You have to knock this dude out to get a win in my book if you lose that many rounds. You lose a 9-3. The best he could have got with the 2 knockdowns, in my opinion, was 7-5. And that's being generous, as if you only lost 9. I thought he lost 10 rounds. I don't think he was winning the 9th round when he got the first knockdown. I thought that Tyson Fury was being cute and playing around, putting his hands behind his back a little too much, and he got caught. I thought he was winning that round too. So I thought Tyson Fury won 9 to 10 rounds. And even with the 2 knockdowns, that's more than enough to win the fight. And in my mind, I was like, wow, if Deontay Wilder, what is he going to change coming to this next fight? He has a great jab, but for some reason or another refuses to use it, which is beyond me. If he used his jab, he would be a completely different fighter. But he refuses to use it, almost like it's his kryptonite. I have a great jab, but I refuse to use it because it just doesn't make me feel right. Like, what the hell, dude? And you're just sitting back. The fight before that, in the undercard on this fight, the fight before that, it was a knockout, and the guy, he knocked out the dude Martin knocked out Washington, but he did absolutely nothing for like 5 or 6 rounds of that fight, just cocking back and waiting to land that big right. And that was almost like a prelude to what was going to happen with Deontay Wilder, except for Tyson Fury is way better of a fighter than Washington, way better boxer, and he came in and sat on his punches. Now, this is all topic, but I had a little bit of a rough day yesterday. I had to go to the hospital for a family member, So that was the reason why I couldn't do a live broadcast or do a prediction video yesterday. But I was sitting in the ER, and me and my dad, we were talking to one of the workers at the hospital. Shout out Brian if you're watching the podcast, man. I told you I'd be doing it today. But we were talking to him. He's a big boxing head, and he was like, "Yo, who you got winning the fight?" And I was like, I'm not sure, but I got Fury. He was like the same thing. He's like, "Why you think that?" I said, "I don't see what Deontay Wilder is going to do differently in this fight. Um, I think he got washed in the first fight, and unless he comes in with that extra weight and knocks him out, is he could do it. But I think, and I said this, I think that Deontay Wilder, and Deontay said this in the press conference on Friday at the weigh-ins. He said, Tyson, you got pillowcases for hands. I think in Deontay's mind, he felt as though Tyson Fury was the heavyweight version of Paulie Malignaggi with pillowcase hands. And I stated that that's dangerous. I think that we all know that Deontay Wilder can knock anybody into the shadow realm. That's not a question. We know that. But what people weren't talking about is Tyson Fury, 29-0-1, 29 wins, only one draw against Deontay Wilder, no losses, but 20 wins by KO. You look at both of these guys in rematches and championship fights. They are 2-0, 2 knockouts apiece. So in my mind, somebody was getting knocked out coming into this rematch. Either Deontay was going to knock his head into the third row, or Tyson Fury was going to sit on his punches with that extra weight, which is why I thought they both came in heavier, because they wanted to sit on their punches. And I thought that he could knock out Deontay, because Deontay would think that I'm going to walk right through this dude. I seen when he had the first fight, which is what I always do in my rematches. I'm going to come in. I'm going to try to get him out of here in 2 rounds. And that's what he tried to do. He landed one big right in the first round. He caught him right at the tail end. Didn't quite catch him with full extension on that punch. But in the first 2 rounds, he landed another 3 or 4 right hands that landed flush. And Tyson Fury ate those like a tough steak and kept moving forward. And then he proceeded to walk Deontay Wilder down from round 1 forward. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do. He came in with that extra heavy weight, 2 inches of height, and he bared down and leaned on Deontay Wilder. And he just tried to impose his will, and he did. He's like, I'm the bigger man. I saw the power you had in the first fight, which is extraordinary, but I can take it. And he came out and he showed him no respect. He respected him as a fighter, but he was realistic with himself and said, this guy can't hurt me. I'm going to walk him down, and I'm going to get him out of here. And that's what he did. He sat on his punches. Now, I'm not trying to compare Tyson Fury to the late, great Muhammad Ali, but one similarity is that Ali and Fury, when they throw combinations, very crisp, very precise, they don't sit on a lot of those punches. They're shoe shining you up. They flick that jab out and they shoe shine you up, something proper. But every now and then, when they actually decide to sit on their punches, when Ali decided to sit on a punch, he could knock you out, get you up out of there. And that's the same thing with Tyson Fury. He doesn't have the same power as Ali, but when he decides to sit on a punch, he has the bone structure, dense bone structure, big dude, 6'9", 270. He sat down that punch, and Deontay Wilder, I'm telling you, that first power jab that Tyson Fury threw out Deontay Wilder's face, I think it was the second or third round near the end. If you pause it and just look at the screenshot, Deontay Wilder, his face was like a fighter that gets hit by Triple G's power jab. He was like, whoa, I did not realize he had this type of snap on that jab. This is something different. Irrespective of the punch that was slightly behind the ear, and the more I look at it, I agree with my dad and Steve, Franks, if you're watching the vid, they talked about that. He clipped him right on the side of the ear, but it did go a little bit higher when looking at it in retrospect as well. But that also comes down to Deontay Wilder ducking and turning his head. But that's neither here nor there. The point is, you gotta be more cognizant of that punch coming. That's a right hook that came and landed flush that knocked Deontay Wilder's equilibrium off. And during the fight, I was thinking like, well, he looks like he has a busted eardrum. that completely throws your balance and your equilibrium off. And you can't recover from that in the fight. For those of you that haven't fought at a serious level, or even in a schoolyard or whatever, if you get, or if you play football and you get blindsided, what they call, if you get ear hold and you don't see the hit coming, you get hit blindsided and you get a busted eardrum. Good luck running or trying to block or trying to have any sense of balance or having your bearings about you, especially in a contact sport like boxing. That happens to you, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And from that point on, it just looked like Deontay, he just was not able to recover from that. And another thing that I really noticed a lot, and Franks was over watching the fight with me and my dad. Fury, he landed a left to the solar plexus, right near the ribs, and I was like, man, that was a mean ass body shot. And then about like 2 or 3 minutes later, all of a sudden you see Deontay Wilder holding his hand down here near the right side, and he kept doing that. I'm like, do you have a busted rib from that body shot? That's another thing that popped up in my mind. I'm like, Tyson Fury landed some vicious shots that just debilitated Deontay in that fight. And if he in fact had a broken rib, then all of a sudden that big right hand that you're counting on, your bread and butter that can bail you out at any time, that's all of a sudden not there, and then you have nothing. You have nothing as a fighter. I just really liked a lot of things that Tyson Fury did. He came in with a game plan. Shout out to, I can't remember his name, but he was a disciple of the late great Emanuel Stewart. His trainer Sugar Hill that he just switched back over to for this fight, and he did a hell of a job in Tyson Fury's corner. They had a game plan, and they really broke down Deontay Wilder. And irrespective of the outcome of this fight, hats off to both of these guys. They were warriors. Deontay Wilder, it was a great stoppage by his corner. He wanted to go out on his shield. He wasn't going to quit. And they're going to have a rematch. And I hope that Deontay Wilder comes back stronger in the rematch. He has the ability to, but I will say this. You are what you are. It's hard for a zebra to change his stripes. And even though he has a jab from hell as well, he refuses to do it for some reason. He probably trained it in training camp, but as soon as that opening bell hits and you catch that first punch, all that floods out of your head. It's almost like somebody who, you're rewind back. Let's rewind back in time. You're back in 7th grade and you're reading a book. You're cramming the night before for a book report that you're going to present in front of the class, and you've crammed this book and all the facts in your head the night before. You go into class and you're like, all right, I'm ready. And then you get up in front of the class and then you have to start talking and you just blank out. Everything you've read the night before floods out of your head and you say, the dog looked great and I read this comic book. That's all I really know about. I'm going to talk about that instead. That's the equivalent of what happened to Deontay Wilder. You can try to teach him to throw the jab and use distance and proper footwork and all that stuff. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate you tuning in. You talk about all that stuff, but as soon as you get into that ring and you get hit one time, game plans tend to go out the window. If it's not ingrained into your DNA, you revert back to what you've always been. That was true. That's true for a lot of fighters, and that's true for Deontay Wilder. He threw the jab really good for like the first minute of that first round, and then after Tyson came back and started flicking his jab back, he just completely abandoned it. So, I mean, it is what it is. And Manny, I pointed out earlier, you were telling me about the ankle injury, and that's something that made me think about swing over to Wilder. And we talked about that yesterday during our discussion. But you thought Wilder was going to win. I thought Tyson Fury was going to win. Both of us thought it would be a close fight. I don't think anybody saw this outcome. I mean, I thought it was possible, like I said, for Fury to wash Wilder, but I didn't necessarily think it would happen, and not in this fashion. And I was telling the other people in the chat the comment that I was having with my co-host Manny, and let me know what you think. He asked me who thought I was going to win, and I said Fury. And he said knockout or decision. Really, knockout or decision? I said by knockout. And what I said was both were coming in heavier, and they're looking to sit on their punches for the KO, and they're looking for punch resistance to take punches. I said if Wilder doesn't KO him early, Fury is going to beat him, in my opinion, worse than he did in the first fight. That was my sentiment. I thought that Wilder had absolutely nothing for him. So it was imperative for him to come in with those extra 15, 16 pounds and really sit on his punches and try to bury Bonds, Tyson Fury's head out of the stadium. That should have been, and it was his game plan. It didn't work out. I thought that Tyson Fury was going to keep him at bay with range and his length on his punches. And I thought that he was coming in heavier because he knew he needed the extra weight to try to knock Deontay out. And both guys came in with that same mindset. You know, Deontay, in the pre-fight interview about like 15 minutes before fight time, they're like, was there any reason why you gained weight for this fight, Deontay? And he was like, nah, there's no reason. You know, my body do what it does. Sometimes I'm heavier, sometimes I'm lighter. And I'm sitting there listening to that. I'm like, that's a whole bunch of baloney, bro. You know, you hit him, and you said it too in that interview. He's like, that's the hardest I've ever hit somebody, and they've gotten up. So you know you was full baloney in that interview. You knew you came in heavier because you was like, I need this extra weight to knock this dude out because he's a 6'9" Neanderthal that moves around like a welterweight. I got to get this guy up out of here. And that's not any disrespect. I'm just saying that it's painfully obvious why you both came in heavier because it's going to be a knockout. It's just about who was going to be sleep at or stopped at the end of the night. I thought it was going to be Fury winning. A lot of people thought it was going to be Wilder winning, which wouldn't necessarily be incorrect in my assessment because he only got to be like George Bush. That, as far as I'm concerned, George Bush's motto should be Deontay Wilder's motto. I only have to be right one time. And he really only has to be right one time. He doesn't have to be a great boxer, which he's not. He just has that great equalizer, that Colt 45. He lands that big right, and it's over. And the difference between Tyson Fury and a guy like Luis Ortiz or Bermane Stiverne, I know I'm probably getting his name wrong. He's 6'9" with a longer reach. You can't sit back there and bear down on guys that have a shorter reach like you're used to. And truth be told, Luis Ortiz almost got you to F up out of there in the first fight. And in the rematch, Luis Ortiz was beating you pretty handily for 6.5 rounds before you hit him with that right and ended the fight. I mean, he was dominating the fight, really, doing what he wanted to, snapping a jab out. And I wouldn't be surprised if Tyson was like, I did that in the first fight. Luis Ortiz did that in the rematch. I'm just going to repeat what we both did and do that in my rematch. And just try to knock him out because I don't think that he can close distance, and he can't. So it was a great fight. Couple things I want to go through, like the punch stats and whatnot. Some things that stuck out to me from the first and second fight. But before I say that, Tyson Fury, the first heavyweight in history to end the reigns of two heavyweight champions that had 10 plus title defenses. Vladimir Klitschko had 18 title defenses before Tyson Fury beat him for the lineal championship, which means the man to beat the man, which made Tyson Fury the man. Almost like Tropic Thunder. Tyson Fury is a dude that beat another dude, man. That's what the lineal champ is. You are the guy. No matter who has the belts, whoever has the lineal championship is the guy at the division. And then he beat Deontay Wilder in what was his 11th title defense of the WBC belt. And he was tied with Muhammad Ali. He would have passed Muhammad Ali for 5th all time for most heavyweight title defenses. And Tyson Fury stopped that. History was made in a couple different ways tonight, you know. And Fury was the first heavyweight to end the reign of two title holders who had 10 plus defenses. And that's something special. That really is something special. I don't know if we're going to see that again, but who knows? But that's something special. Now looking at the first fight, Deontay Wilder, he threw 430 punches to Tyson Fury's 327, and he landed 71 compared to Tyson Fury's 84. And this is why I say again why I thought Tyson Fury won the first fight, because Deontay Wilder landed 31 out of 182 power punches, including those four vicious punches and those two knockdowns in that first fight. But Tyson Fury landed 7 more power punches while only throwing 104. And he buzzed Deontay Wilder a couple times in that first fight. I don't know if people noticed that. Deontay Wilder got buzzed a couple times in that first fight. And I think that let both of them know that two things. You punch hard, Deontay, but I can get up from your hardest punch. And two, you can be hurt. If I put on this weight, I might be able to knock you out. I buzzed you the first fight. I might be able to knock you out if I put on my weight and sit on my punches. I'm a take a punch to try to give a punch the second fight. That's what I got out of it. And he held Deontay Wilder to his lowest connect percentage in that of his career in that first fight. He only connected on about 17% of his total punches and only about 20.6% of his power punches, which he usually connects somewhere in the 40% range. So that just shows me something. And you look at the first fight and the second fight for Tyson Fury, he landed 36.5% of his power punches. This fight landed 36.3% of his power punches. Same thing, but he threw more power punches and he landed 20 more power punches. And the power punches he landed were flush. Deontay landed some flush power punches, but he only landed 18 this fight. Only landed 18. Only threw 55, only landed 18. You landed 18 power punches to Tyson Fury landed 40 more power punches than you. Think about that. Think about that. He only threw 141 punches, Deontay Wilder, in this fight. Only landed 24% connect percentage. Threw 141 punches. Tyson Fury damn near doubled his punch output in this fight. 34 punches landed to 82 landed for Tyson Fury. I mean, damn, there was a round we were watching where I think Tyson Fury had landed 18 or 22 punches, and Deontay Wilder hadn't landed a punch up to that point in that round. I'm like, damn, like, what? I don't care who you picked in the fight. Nobody could have foreseen that. Nobody could have. Let's not talking like hindsight is 2020. Nobody could have foreseen that. For you to land 22 punches, 18 punches at one point in one round, to 0 punches landed for the other fighter. Yeah, he did go to work. Leave your comments. Let me know about things that you guys saw that maybe I didn't mention yet. But these are the things that I noticed. And the punch output disparity in this fight was just eye-opening. And the first fight, like I mentioned, there were some things that made me look at this fight coming up and say that if you don't do something new, it's only going to get worse, because you guys have seen each other one time already. You know what to expect. In round 13, it's just going to be fireworks, because you know what fighter, Wilder and Fury can and can't do. And man, it's a great fight. So, I mean, huge win. We don't know what's going to go on in the heavyweight division now. AJ, thank you, sir. I was just about to mention that. AJ just won the 3 belts back from Andy Ruiz. Kudos to him. We needed that. We need to see you come back like a true champion you are and get those belts and win that in convincing fashion. You didn't get the knockout, but you won it convincingly. And you outclassed Andy Ruiz, who's an A+ boxer, which says a lot too about Anthony Joshua. Yeah, I need to see AJ and Wilder at Wembley. And you know what? Hey, Wilder might have miscalculated. I think both AJ and Wilder miscalculated along this journey, because AJ was messing around. He was pussyfooting around, and then he ran into Andy Ruiz, who was just supposed to be a stepping stone in preparation for the matchup against Deontay Wilder. And what do you know? He ended up losing. And losing by knockout. That messed up the money for years to come for AJ. Yeah. I got you. No. Yeah, I was gonna say AJ and Fury, but in the interim, I don't know if that's going to happen. So that's why I kind of went with what you said, AJ Wilder, because Wilder showed a lot of flaws. If I was AJ, I would rather fight Deontay Wilder because he's a one-dimensional fighter as opposed to fighting Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury brings you so many different looks. And Lennox Lewis mentioned this in the podcast, the broadcast leading up to the fight. They asked him in an interview. It was him and Andre Ward and a couple people up at the podium. Who do you think would be the more difficult person to fight? And he said, I would rather fight Deontay Wilder because I know it's the right hand and that's all I need to worry about. He's very one dimensional. That's a hell of a one trick pony, but I know what I'm getting, as opposed to he's like, I wouldn't want to fight. I would rather fight him as opposed to Tyson Fury because he would make me think. Like I would have to really come up with, and I'm just paraphrasing, plan A, B, and C and D. Like you have to have multiple game plans for this guy because he's an expert boxer. Um, so if I was AJ, I would want to fight Wilder for big money. Yeah, yeah, Craig. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I would want to fight Wilder for big money because um now you're the A side. You just had a big comeback victory against Ruiz, got all three belts back, and then Wilder's coming off a really tough loss against the lineal champ in Tyson Fury. And you're going to be able to sell the fight because say what you want. Deontay Wilder might have had a very rough loss, but he still has that one hitter quitter power. All it takes for him is to come back in the next fight and catch somebody right, and people are still going to fear him when they come into that ring. You know, I'm just saying you can sell the fight. Not that I wouldn't want to see Fury and AJ first, but I'm just saying you can sell the Wilder fight. Eddie Hearn's going to sell it, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the fight that happened next. But you know, look, Tyson Fury, I thought he won the first fight, got jobs. He came across the pond, came to Las Vegas. The man came out on a platform with the crown on and the royal garbs. Came out, I don't even know what the song was. Some song made in 1961, and he was just serenading the crowd like a king coming in to talk to his millions and millions of loyal fans and supporters. And it was like Britain showed up and showed out, and he was just sitting there like a king coming into the ring. Slowly sauntered in on his platform and his throne, and he looked cool, calm, and collected. That being said, you got to give it up to both of these guys because Deontay Wilder, man, that costume, woo, man, came out looking like Darth Vader. He looked like Darth Vader. What's going on, fam? Came out looking like Darth Vader. Had the lit up red LED lights around the eyes. I knew, regardless of how the outcome came, both guys were supremely confident, and I knew it was going to be a real fight. Regardless of him not being able to show up the way that we wanted him against Fury, he came out swinging for the fences. Both guys came out swinging for the fences. That's exactly what you want to see. The best fighting the best at their best in the moment, and they're not coming out and running. No, they're coming to the center of the ring. Both guys ran to the center of the ring and proceeded. I know he did look like a final boss coming in. Deontay Wilder looked like the final boss on like something like Mortal Kombat or something, man. It was ridiculous. I was like waiting for a chain to like come out of his hand for him to like snatch somebody from the crowd and fling them like up to the third, to the upper rafters, and just like mindlessly look at them and then turn back and keep walking to the ring. That's what his costume looked like. It was very impressive. I might actually have to try to get that for Halloween, to be honest with you. But from the first round, they ran out to the center of the ring and they played no games, pulled no punches. They did exactly what they said in the press conference. Deontay Wilder was like, I'm going to stop him by devastating knockout in devastating fashion. And Fury was saying, I'm going to come out and knock him out in 2 rounds. And they both came out with evil intentions, evil in a good way. But they came out with nasty intentions. And we got the fight. I got the fight exceeded my expectations. So I was highly impressed. But yeah, that's it. I'll probably make another video upcoming about some of the upcoming matchups in boxing, especially at the welterweight division. There was a big fight 2 weeks ago with Gary Russell Jr. out in Allentown, PA. I talked about. He had a very good win. This is down at the 126-pound weight class. There's a lot of big fights coming up. Teofimo Lopez, if that fight can be made with Lomachenko, that would be extraordinary. The one good thing that MMA has done for the sport of boxing and mixed martial arts is they've put so much pressure on boxing by putting on great events with the top guys fighting the top guys and the top women fighting the top women. You know, you had like Cyborg and Amanda Nunes. Fights like that, the best against the best, bro. And that forces boxing to have to get in line because people aren't going to pay money to see guys that have no business being in the ring with the champion. They're not going to do it. So they force boxing to have to make fights like this, the best against the best. And it's good for the sport all around. You know what I mean? It's like the Chiefs couldn't have got to the Super Bowl and said, nah, we don't want to play the 49ers. Let's just throw the Cleveland Browns in there. You can't do that in regular sports, right? So it's good that they're not doing that in boxing anymore. And we're seeing the best versus the best. I was excited about this fight. Those are my thoughts and my notes and what my prediction was. I had Fury winning. I thought it was possible he could have washed Deontay Wilder, but I did not expect to see him win in that dominating of a fashion. So either way, great fight. Respect to both fighters. Both guys were gracious in victory. Both guys were gracious after the draw in the first fight, and Deontay Wilder was very humble and gracious in defeat, and he's a true champion. I hope that he will come back in the third fight. They will be having the rematch and show up and show out and grow from this fight. And, you know, to Tyson Fury, hey, let's go party. Good on you, bro. That's it for today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope you enjoy my antics and my animated mannerisms. I get passionate about boxing. That's what my channel started out as. I branched out to Philly sports and all the other 4 major sports, but this has his roots as a boxing podcast. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content that I brought to you today. Quick news and notes. There were 2 heavyweight matchups last night, one being Wilder and Fury and the other being the Sixers and the Bucks. And we won't talk about that one because the Sixers got KO'd in round 7. So they better figure out a way to get their crap together on the road. At home, they look like Muhammad Ali. On the road, they look like they look like lunch meat. That's the best way I can put it. So I'll be talking more about the Sixers in my next episode. Other news and notes on the music side, new single out, Desperado Theory, featuring me and Jules, LSP. Make sure you check that out. You can check my page here. I have it posted up multiple times. Make sure you go to the SoundCloud, subscribe, and check out the song and leave your support. Is much appreciated. I appreciate all you guys that are here along the journey with my music and my podcast. I truly do look at all the comments. I truly do sit back and I appreciate the support that you guys show me. And yeah, that's it. Also, I left it in the description. Make sure you go to the YouTube channel, Gem Music 856, and subscribe to that. I have a playlist for my music and I have a playlist for the sports. Make sure you check out, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell. So every time I drop a video, which will be often, you'll get a notification about it. And we just want to keep doing the damn thing in 2020. Enjoy your Saturday. Oh gosh, I am tired. Enjoy your Sunday. And I hope you guys enjoyed the fight and you guys celebrated accordingly and stayed safe. As always, much love. Salute.